Today, I get to finally answer the question, what would happen if a camera company decided to make a webcam? And Insta360 sponsored this video to have a look at this because I've never seen a webcam quite like this one as a solution. And I'm excited to see all their camera engineering that they've done over the years, what that means in a more simple camera device that the average person would use, like a webcam. Wow. It's very small, but it has a gimbal. Okay. Soft touch boxes in soft touch boxes means friction is not your friend. So we have some stickers. So they included a Type-C to A adapter if your laptop doesn't have Type-C in it, which is nice. And then I assume this is a C to C cable. Yes, okay, and no, this looks actually like pretty decently long. That's good for a webcam because you want to be able to place it exactly right for your computer or your desktop. I think this is mostly for desktop users, but I'm sure it'll work totally fine on a laptop as well. And then we also have a, oh, is this a little cleaning cloth? Okay, and then they also included these, there's only 3 of them. I don't know if there's supposed to be 4 of them. These little stickers are for a whiteboard. And they will allow the gimbal to track a whiteboard's content. And so because this thing has a gimbal, which is a really cool feature of it, it moves around and follows you. And it has a bunch of other different modes that kind of utilize the gimbal's specific benefits. We also have this mini 2-in-1 tripod. It's your standard action cam mount. Seems nice enough, pretty basic. There you go. Put your camera on here and you can kind of put it wherever you want. And then I've seen this mounting bracket before. It's pretty common on other like suction cup devices. I don't know how often I would personally use something like this, but it's nice to have. I think this is an optional accessory. I don't know how much it is, but it probably is in like the $50 or a little bit above or below that range. Oh, that's cool. So then you can extend it. Oh, you can kind of actually even use it like, you could use this camera selfie style. That's actually, I wonder if that would work. The camera's pretty small, which is really nice. Like it fits in the palm of my hand. And it is 4K f1.8. It's actually using a 1/2-inch sensor. Now, if you guys watched my previous video on the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, I talk about in that video, 1-inch sensor, 1/2-inch sensor. Neither one is actually 1 inch or 1/2 inch. But considering the size of this camera, that sensor size is still larger. Ignore the literal naming of it. Just know that if it's a 1-inch sensor or a 1/2-inch sensor, it's still big, even though it's not physically 1 inch or 1/2 inch. It also has phase detection autofocus, which is really cool. It's the kind of thing that you only see in professional cameras. Like all of our Sony cameras have phase detection autofocus, and it is superior and usually more accurate and quick than contrast-based autofocus. So if it's just like, I have my laptop here, sits on top with the standard mount just like this. Look at that. Okay, we got a blue light indicator. Oh, and the gimbal is calibrating. Wow, just like that. I haven't even set up any software. I wasn't actually gonna test this on my laptop, but just to give you guys a sense of like what it would be like on your laptop. Actually, I think you can see one of the features of this thing right off the bat. After 10 seconds of inactivity, this thing goes into privacy mode. So a lot of people are always concerned with stuff like this, especially one that can like track you and move with you. Obviously, you don't want your webcam watching you at all times of the day. So whenever you're not actually using it, it just points straight down. It's a nice built-in feature and it's on by default. Like I haven't done anything to this. There's not even software installed. So that's very good on Insta360's part to implement something like that. All right, so the last thing I wanna mention before we actually move over to the desktop and try this thing properly on a desktop setup is this camera is 4K up to 30 FPS. So I'm really curious to see the quality of the 4K because a lot of things have 4K, but Insta360 has made cameras for a while now. So I actually think that their 4K will be pretty good for a webcam. This looks good. Like, to be very clear, this is basically an ideal a setting as you can make. We have a light here. We have a nice ambient top light up there. Let's test some of these modes. So this thing has a lot of different gestures that it can follow, as well as an HDR mode, a desk view mode, an overhead mode. We already talked about the privacy mode, but there's a lot to go through here. and I want to try everything at least once. So I'm in the Link controller software, pretty simply laid out. I've never looked at this before, but it seems intuitive enough. Buttons are big. Man, guys, I can't get over how good this is. Let me see if, does it track my hand? Wow. And that's actually pretty good minimum focus too. So minimum focus on the camera is 4 inches, which I actually think is excellent. You could hold up, here actually, let's hold Mr. Shiny Boy. And is it gonna pick this up? Because it's, oh, hey, there we go. And back to me. And here. And see, okay, guys, that's phase detection autofocus. That's really cool. And I'm impressed by the autofocus. You can also have exposure compensation here, so I can lower the exposure. Say I think the auto exposure, it's exposing mainly for my face, which is really good because obviously that's the most important part of the image when you're using a camera like this, generally speaking. But you notice that, and you can also change your brightness, contrast, saturation. I'm not gonna touch that stuff because I feel like the default is probably fine. We've got gimbal control here. Wait, let's see what this does. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's smooth too. You can see the stabilization of the gimbal really working because this feels very robotic, but in a good way, because that's basically what a gimbal should be doing, keeping it this steady. And then I can reset it. Oh, and oh, and then you can have preset positions. Okay, so this is my position 1. And then say I was like co-hosting at some point or somebody jumped in, you could be like, and this can be like the designated area that they jump in from. Belle, come over here. So I'm talking to the camera, blah, 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 blah. And then Belle comes over and bam, right there. And it goes right to him too. That is, and then right back to me. Okay, wow, that's really cool. Crazy. All right, let's see what else we can have fun with. It gives you the gestures in the software, which is actually nice. So if I press L, it will, in theory, zoom. Oh, okay, so it's like, let's try this. L, and then I'll push it up, zooms me in, and then L down, zooms me out. That's pretty responsive. It's a little bit of noise, but not unpleasant noise, and I think this is one of the sharpest webcams I've ever used, that's for sure. You also can do manual focus. So if you know that you don't want it to leave focus, and you want like, okay, I'm doing something, and then I'm gonna do something over there, I wanna turn something off, and you roll back over, oh, and it's not in focus perfectly, so you could be like doing something privately that you're dealing with on your phone, and even from here, they wouldn't see what you were doing. I don't know, just an idea. I mean, that's cool. Like if you don't want your focus to just constantly be changing and you know you're always gonna be at one point or there's something wrong with the autofocus considering your location, you can just set it, that's nice. So you can tell our light back there, very bright. I'm gonna use that as like a fake window light in this instance and check the HDR mode. So in order to get the HDR mode to work, you have to go into 1080p. I'm gonna start my recording on the camera again. So we're in 1080p now. Honestly, the 1080p still looks pretty good. HDR mode, cool. Okay, so you can clearly tell that the image is slightly less saturated and the highlights and the blacks are kind of shifted. But that being said, I can see the diffusion now. Before we couldn't. So you actually can see detail in a light source like that. And I'm sure you could actually edit, if you wanted to take the recording from the actual Insta360, you could probably edit to have a little bit more saturation in the video and kind of compensate for how much flatter it is overall. You can also mirror your image, which is a nice standard feature. I'm sure that a lot of people will use depending on their situation. There's an anti-flicker setting here. And our TV is flickering back there. So this is at 50 Hertz and this is at 60 Hertz. Oh, the TV right here was flickering previously, and now it is not, now that I set this to 60 Hertz. That's nice. One of the coolest and probably most used features of a webcam that is set up like this on a gimbal is auto tracking. So you just palm gesture like this, and then you'll notice that the LEDs on the camera flashed, and then now, whoa, it's tracking me actively now. I'm over here. Wow, that's pretty fast. So you really could be moving around a lot. And this thing is gonna do a really good job, both keeping you in focus and in frame. So there's a couple other things we can try. There's a desk view mode. So Bell has provided me with this very well-written, important document. And if you wanted to show that on your desk, nice. So the camera goes at a 45-degree angle, I believe, and it just compensates the view, which is very cool. Because typically if you just took a camera and you were pointing it directly at this, it wouldn't give you a top-down feeling view. They're clearly cropping the view in order to give you this perspective on it, which, hey, it works. Look at that. Like I clearly can read this. If you were showing somebody like literally a legal document, you could probably read it through this camera. Overhead mode. So this gives you a actually top-down uncompensated view. Also a stabilized view. So you could like totally use this for, say you're doing like a cooking stream. Now you have a top-down camera that can kind of move with whatever you're doing. For those of you that stream, if you stream on TikTok or Instagram Live, this streamer mode basically gives you a 50 to 60 FPS, depending on what you need, vertical video output on the camera. So I'm in OBS right now, and we've actually made the Insta360 camera one of the sources. And as you can see, the camera has turned itself vertically. And you're hearing them right now, but this is what the dual recording mics on the Insta360 sound like. So I'm gonna talk directly at the camera so you guys can get a sense of what it would be like if you were talking on a stream with only using the mics on this camera. Now, often I'm sure a lot of you will have your own streaming mic setup, but if you don't have it or you're in a pinch and you're like in a coffee shop with your laptop, this is what it sounds like. The last feature that I want to test out is the whiteboard mode. Okay, so we have our whiteboard set up. Let's see how this works. You give it a peace sign as your hand gesture, and then I believe it'll just navigate itself over to the whiteboard. So say you're giving a lesson or something and you want to talk about something on the whiteboard, it'll find the whiteboard, and then look at this. It will zoom in on just the contents of the whiteboard. And so you throw up the peace symbol again, I think you have to do it. It comes out back to you. Okay, so let's try that full. So I'm talking, blah, 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 giving a lesson. Now look at this whiteboard. I'll let the camera find the whiteboard, and then it'll lock on to the 4 points that we have, and bam. You are looking at only, so you can point at specific things on your whiteboard, gesture, take in all that information for the people on the lesson, and then give the peace symbol one more time, and the camera will go right back to you. That's pretty cool. So obviously, guys, this is not a review. Insta360 just sponsored this video for us to check this thing out, and then this is only my first impressions. But that in consideration, my first impressions are I'm impressed by this thing. I like it a lot. Here's the price that we got from Insta360, and I think that despite the price, you're kind of getting a pretty all-in-one solution. So if that's something that you're looking for, if you want a low-profile camera and you're in the market for it, consider this as an option. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out more about the Insta360 link in the video description down below. And please subscribe. I'll see you later.